May 22nd, 2018 meeting of the Human Services Committee will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mrs. Conley? Here. Mrs. Draw? Here. Ms. Harris? Here. Mr. Hebert? Here. Mr. Lightfoot? Here. Mr. Moyo? Here. Ms. Taylor? Here. Mr. Wilt? Here. Chairman Zale?
I am here. Thank you. Is there anyone signed up for the public forum?
There is not.
Is there anyone present who has not signed up to speak who would like to do so at this time? Seeing none. Next, we have a presentation by Rochelle Bell, Senior Environmental Planner of the Monroe County's Planning and Development Department. She will give a brief overview of the 2019-2024 Capital Improvement Program as it pertains to the Human Services Committee. Ms. Bell?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You should all have a copy of the County Executive's proposed 2019-2024 CIP. The Monroe County Planning Board reviewed the proposal, held a public information meeting, and prioritized budget year projects before it being submitted to this honorable body. At the full legislature meeting in June, you'll set a public hearing for your July meeting, after which you will vote on the proposed CIP. There are no funding approvals associated with taking action on this referral. There are two sections of the CIP pertinent to this committee: the Department of Health's Medical Examiner Office and the Monroe Community Hospital. The Medical Examiner's Program is found on page 11 of your CIP. Each year, the office upgrades one of its mass spectrometers or gas chromatographs to enhance speed, analytic capability, and maintainability. The Monroe Community Hospital Program begins on page 17. Funding for 2 of the hospital's 7 projects was adjusted for this year. The physical plant will benefit the hospital as well as 111 Westfall, and it will provide improved energy redundancy to the hospital. I'll be happy to take questions when you get to this item on your agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bell. Next, we have approval of the minutes. You have the April 23rd, 2018 minutes before you. They stand approved unless the clerk is notified of any changes by the end of the day. The next item on the agenda is new business. Madam Clerk.
Referral 18-0147.
Moved by Legislator Taylor, second by Legislator Conley. Any discussions on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0153.
Moved by Legislator Conley, seconded by Legislator Draw. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0155.
Moved by Legislator Draw, second by Legislator Hebert. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Harris.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To the chair, to the administration, I'd like to know, do we expect to receive funding for this for the last quarter of 2018, or does the county plan to reauthorize this contract and contribute the necessary funding?
Through the chair, can you repeat the question, please?
Do we expect to receive funding for the last quarter of 2018, or does the county plan to reauthorize this contract and contribute the necessary funding?
Well, this contract, through the chair, this is Mike Sayers from the Office of Public Health Preparedness. This position, it funds one position that is primarily funded through 2 separate grants. So it is not county funded, and it would not be county funded.
Thank you. Okay. So it will not be county funded. To the chair, to the administration. Shall I say, how will we cover the necessary costs for this program?
Through the chair, so this program, my office consists of 5 staff, one of which is a contract position, this contract position. And this allows us to build a capacity through training additional county staff for a lot of our response activities for medical countermeasures. If this contract wasn't renewed or the grant not accepted, We would just have to do less, in essence. I mean, having the contract available to us, that allows us to do additional training for our staff, additional exercises, and it helps us build our capacity
Okay.
in a more efficient way.
Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0160.
Moved by legislator Hebert, seconded by legislator Wilt. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0161.
Moved by legislator Wilt, seconded by legislator Taylor. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, can the administration briefly outline what the need is for this, the increase of the payments from the county, the outside counties to Monroe County?
Yeah, good evening. Through the chair, basically what this is an increase that the counties are allowed to send us in their overhead structure of how many cases are referred to our office.
So, thank you. I think I heard you, but it's an increase of demand from the outlying counties for the use of the medical examiner's office. Is that correct?
Essentially, yes.
Through the chair, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0162.
Moved by legislator Conley, seconded by legislator Draw. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, do we expect any additional funding from New York State in support of this program?
Chair, the funding that we've received was one of those funding opportunities that comes near the end of a grant year. They had some additional funds to distribute, so the funds were distributed among NFP programs throughout New York State. At this time, we don't expect any additional funds for this grant year, which ends on September 30th.
Thank you so much. No further questions.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0163.
Moved by legislator Draw, seconded by legislator Hebert. Is there any discussion on this item? Ladies first, legislator Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just got a question about how successful has this program been in reducing the risk of HIV in Monroe County for this past year?
Through the chair, throughout the course of 2017, 94% of the people who were enrolled or who we received notification of were either successfully relinked to care or remain successfully linked to our staff as they process into care.
Thank you. And newly, through the administration, through the chair, I'd like to know, in newly diagnosed HIV cases among African American and Hispanics in Monroe County have basically increased between 2014 and 2015. Is there any data reflecting the difference between these communities since 2015? Like, have you noticed there's been a decrease since 2015, or has it increased?
Through the chair, I can get information and give it to you.
Thank you.
Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, this referral seems to contemplate the idea that there are people who have HIV who aren't being treated. Do we have an estimate of the number of people in Monroe County that are untreated at this time?
Through the chair, the way the information is received by us is when an individual who is known to be HIV positive does not have the requisite lab tests, which would indicate that they are in care for greater than 13 months, their information is then securely downloaded to us. In 2017, there were 101 persons that we served in that manner. We received more downloads, many of whom were not appropriate. Maybe they were in care, maybe they were no longer alive, maybe they moved out of jurisdiction, et cetera. But we served 101 folks in 2017.
Okay, thank you. So, so just so I'm clear, this, through the chair, this doesn't contemplate individuals who have never received care or who might not be tested at this point. So it doesn't create a system to test individuals who might be HIV positive. Am I correct about that?
Through the chair, if they are diagnosed as HIV positive and never tested, we receive that.
Gotcha.
So this may include newly diagnosed but not linked, or folks out of care for greater than 13 months, as evidenced by no lab test.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0164.
Moved by legislator Hebert, seconded by legislator Wilt. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you so much. Through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, have we been providing this violent information to the New York State prior to this apparatus that we want to purchase?
Through the chair, yes, we have.
Oh, okay, that's great. So, is this database available to anyone? Can anyone access it through the web, or is this data that the administration has to provide, the medical examiners?
Through the chair, the medical examiner's office actually doesn't have access to this database. It's a database maintained by New York State that they input the data that they receive from our office into.
So no one has access to the database other than New York State?
Through the chair.
Through the chair, that's correct.
Yeah, through the chair, to the administration.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Right? What was your answer, sir? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Through the chair, that's correct. We don't have direct access to this data.
No one in the community, through the chair, has direct information. I'm just trying to find out.
Through the chair, I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0165.
Moved by legislator Wilt, seconded by legislator Taylor. Is there any discussion on this item? Legislator Draw.
To the administration, approximately how many residents in Monroe County do we expect to anticipate? Do we anticipate taking part in this replacement program for the sewers?
Through the chair, Wade Selkworth, Manager of Environmental Health. It's really going to depend on the cost of each project. So this is a $150,000 grant. We expect that most of these replacements will be quite expensive, and each homeowner will have the opportunity to recoup up to $10,000 in funds. So if they're all expensive, so it could be 15 homeowners. I would expect more between 15 and 25 homeowners will be able to take advantage of this.
Okay.
Any other questions?
And then a follow-up to that, then, and how will they hear about, how will a resident, through you, the chair, how would they hear about that, this program?
Through the chair, at the beginning of this process, we will be doing a mass mailing to the residents who will be eligible for this.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Legislator Harris.
Mr. Chair, through the administration, I'd like to know who will be overseeing the management of this particular grant?
Through the chair, myself through our existing septic system program.
Okay, thank you. And then I'd like to know, upon meeting eligibility requirements and completion of the work, how long will the property owners need to wait for the reimbursement?
Through the chair, that process will take very quickly on our end. However, the reimbursement will be requested from the State Environmental Facilities Corporation. So it would be up to their timeline, but I've been, we will be submitting them monthly, so I'm thinking no more than a month or two.
Thank you.
Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Through you to the administration, are there income guidelines or criteria for eligibility under this program, or is it open to all residents who have septic systems?
Through the chair, this is open to, there's no income eligibility requirements. However, it is limited to residents who live within a certain distance of the identified impaired water bodies that were identified by New York State DEC.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on this item? Legislator Lightfoot.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration. You kind of touched on that. There was a couple of questions I had regarding how this location area of 250 feet or miles or whatever the distance is from this site was determined. And I think I heard you say through Mr. Chairman to the chair and to the administration that this was determined by New York State and not by the County of Monroe.
Through the chair, that is correct.
So furthermore, through you, Mr. Chairman, to the administration, how long has the septic system replacement program been in existence here?
Through the chair, this will be the first time.
Oh, okay. I think I must have misunderstood when you was answering another question. Thank you so much.
Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item, please.
Referral 18-0170.
Moved by Legislator Legislator Taylor, second by Legislator Conley. Before we open this for discussion, could we just have a brief description of what this is? More specifically on the Dwyer Veteran Peer-to-Peer Support.
Through the chair, the Dwyer Peer Support Program was started for our county about 3 years ago. It was started through a family who lost their son, a Marine veteran from Iraq, to suicide. It's a peer-to-peer program that we receive a grant for. It's an extremely successful program in order to offer peer mentorship through different types of programs and events out in the community for veterans.
Thank you. Any discussion on this item? Legislator Moyo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I see we're contracting with Compeer. Were there any other responses to the RFP through the chair to the administration?
Through the chair, there was another response from the Veterans Outreach Center.
Okay, and can you explain, was it going to be more expensive with the VOC, or was there another reason for choosing Compeer through the chair?
Through the chair, it was determined that with the Compeer proposal, the number of veterans served per the amount of money that they offered was higher than that of VOC. Okay, thank you. And through the chair, it appears that we're contracting for $170,000. The grant is for $185,000. Can you account for the other $15,000 through the chair? Through the chair, traditionally, throughout the 3 years that we've had the grant, the remainder of those monies go towards operating costs through the Veterans Service Agency. Okay, thank you.
Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Are there any other matters to come before this committee? There being no other matters, the May 22nd, 2018 meeting of the Human Services Committee stands adjourned. Next meeting of the Human Services Committee will be held on Tuesday, June 26th, 2018 at 5:30 p.m. Thank you.